And welcome back. A very heated conversation here in studio, the land battle. And actually during the break, my colleagues here, especially the men, did weigh in their opinions, especially on this matter, the land battle. I'm still with my panelists, Madam Jessica, Oluoch and Nderitu Njoka. And before I go back to them, I understand we have a caller in line, Mr. Gerald from Bungoma. Good morning, Gerald.
Good morning.
What do you have for us this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning.
In fact, I'm also sounding the same sentiments with the Njoka. Now, this ruling, according to the Kenyan law, has become law. Now, if it becomes law, then it means all married women will stream back to their parents' homes to demand for land. Now, by doing so, some of us are also expecting our sisters who are married a long time ago, before even our fathers died.
Yes.
Now, then they will come and force us to resubdivide land for them. Then equally, this means we are also going to send our wives back to their homes to get land in the compensation for this. And what I'm seeing is going to become a crisis, because I cannot now resubdivide my land to a sister who got married a long time ago, and then stay without land, when I have my wife here also, who is supposed to get land from her father to compensate for this. So we are going to send them back home also to get land there, so that we also share with them. That's what I have for you.
Gerald there from Bungoma, he seems to share the same sentiments as Mr. Nderitu Njoka. That was actually his opening statement. And before we proceed, we also have one Susan from Kitui. Good morning, Susan. What do you have for us?
Yeah, morning to you.
Morning.
Yeah, I'm sharing in the debate, and I'm not concurring with Njoka.
Yes.
Because one, when women get married to their husbands, they do not automatically get the land there.
Yes.
The land there is already shared to the men, and it is already under their names.
Yes.
And for one to get land there is a problem. Number two, people still split or even divorce. And when the woman goes back to their land, to their homes, they find that the land has already been shared between the people who are there. So if this lady was given land early enough, and then separation occurs, or anything occurs, or someone dies, and then you are taken back to your parents, you will find land there where you can build and stay with your children.
Yes.
Women suffer a lot. This is the third contribution. They suffer a lot when their husband dies. Some are thrown away by the people in their husband's place.
Yes.
And they have nowhere to settle. When they go back to their place, they find that all the land has been shared and they have nowhere to stay.
Yes.
So I'm really supporting the motion that women should be shared land in their own homes where they come from. So that if any problem comes by, they can still have land there. And this land is theirs with their husbands so long as they are together.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Susan. That one agrees with you, Jessica. Now, before moving on, I understand we also have Dennis from Muranga. Good morning, Dennis. What do you have for us?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd also like to agree. I'd also like to end the conversation. And agree with Njoka.
Yes.
That as a country, we try to make some strides, some positive strides towards completing marriages. But I think this one particular ruling will now take those strides back.
Yes.
I think what should have happened, the court should have tried.
Yes.
The court should have tried to make these rulings such that if a person enters a marriage, it becomes a binding contract such that the lad that you fight there becomes a lad. Eh?
Yes.
Now, trying to say that now when you're married, then you can still go back to your family and get that from your family.
Yes.
It will bring some social mayhem. Because now consider this situation where a woman is married. Eh?
Yes.
And we know not everyone in society usually have good thoughts when they get into marriage. Eh? Some of them will come in, maybe they have children. Eh? And you know in our culture that when somebody comes into your marriage, eh, they become part of the family. So everything that was in the family is given to them. Now consider a situation where the mother is coming, then leaving. Eh? Her children now becomes part of my family. Eh? They get my inheritance, and my property is a matrimonial property. Now I'm trying to add where the land that the woman is going to get will also become matrimonial property, or it's a property. So I think this particular ruling will cause a lot of mayhem in the society. What the court should have done is that they have tried to strengthen the institution of marriages, such that when one gets into a marriage, they have the right to some properties. So these particular things in some cultures, if I'm not paid dowry, she's not part of our family. That's what the court should have dealt with, and not going back to making the step that I had made. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dennis. It's a 2-1 for Njoka, and you were smiling all through.
Now, you see, this is a very sensitive matter, and I don't know why it is being taken that casually. I'm telling you, we are going to have a lot of divorce cases, a lot of separations, a lot of discord in families. And let families be led by our customs. I'm telling you. And if we are also going to deal with even domestic violence, these things come because we have done away with our traditions. We must respect our customs as Africans. And I have to repeat that Mkosamira ni mtumwa. There is no way we can water down the customs, and the Constitution clearly protects the customs, and our customs are in the Constitution. Whatever the judge did, that hiyo ilikuwa yake, na ilikuwa ya hiyo case, not for me. Okay. There is no case that I have taken to court.
Okay,
there is no case that you have taken to court.
It's the third time you're saying that now.
It should not set a precedent.
Okay.
Like you are saying. No. Cases are different.
Okay, Njoka, that's the third time you've said that. Are we eroding the customary laws?
I don't think we are eroding the customary law. I think I started by saying that the Constitution protects customs, and it says that customs should be valued and respected. And the same Constitution says that as much as we respect these customs and we value them, they should not derogate anyone's rights. So what this ruling is not doing is not derogating people's rights, because at the end of the day, it's not that the decision was that from today these customs are no longer applicable. That was not the decision. The decision was with regard to the rights of women to land and property, and the reference that they made to was with regard to the existing laws. So I think specifically, even when you look at the various decisions that have been decided, you realize that culture is not derogated, culture is protected. But as I mentioned earlier, the Constitution says that yes, it protects culture, but to a certain extent, because it recognizes that the same culture can be used to be able to discriminate against a certain group of people. It can be men, it can be women, can be used to be able to, because as I said, it is static, it is not something that is written there for people to take it to their advantage. So at the end of the day, I don't think culture is being derogated. And also I think it should be very clear that this ruling is not going to inform any law. This ruling is implementing laws that have been existing for a very long time. It is only that people are not aware. That's why they're saying that this ruling is going to implement a law. And I would like to respond to the last caller who said that then the ruling should be able to address these other aspects of when you get into a marriage, then what property are you entitled to? What about the wife? What about the man? The kind of properties that you had. And this is something that we already had in our Marriage Act. This is something that is existing. It's only that people are not aware, because at the end of the day, everyone is equal during the marriage, before the marriage, and after the marriage. So the property that you had before the marriage is your property as an individual, as a man, as a woman. The property that you have during the marriage as a man, as a woman, is your matrimonial property. And the property you have after the dissolution of a marriage is also your individual property. So remember, the matrimonial property is the property that you have during the course of the marriage. So at the end of the day, if you as a man acquire property before this marriage and it is your sole property, then that is your property. But nowadays, I think with the Matrimonial Properties Act, it says that there is the aspect of joint what is it called, like the joint titling, where if I have a parcel of land, then I would like my wife also to be indicated in this title of land, so that we can be able to fight against disinheritance, which always happens when somebody dies, because they claim that this land did not belong to your husband, it belonged to me. So at the end of the day, we have laws that clearly say that if something is matrimonial property, then that specific law specifies how this property is supposed to be dealt with. And the same law is even specifying how single women are supposed to deal with their property, married women are supposed to deal with their property, spouses are supposed to deal with the property, everyone is supposed to be dealing with their property, even children, when their property is held in trust. So this is not something that is new, that just happened last week or this week. This is something that has been existing. And nobody's right is being taken away. And lastly, no culture is being derogated. Culture is still protected, but we are implementing the law.
Okay. Njoka, wait.
Can you give me a minute, please?
No, just a minute. You mentioned that it encourages divorce, right? Yes. But there's an argument by FIDA that divorce is partly encouraged by poverty. So if I come in with land from my father, and you as a man with a little that you have, and that's going to help us. That's the argument. What do you think of that?
We need to go back to our customs, because when you're married, then there is an issue of dowry. There is the issue of you coming out from that clan and joining another clan. Then you cannot come and possess land in the clan that you already moved away from. There is something I want to tell you about this ruling. The judge was very categorical and said father's land. Really? Father's land. Now, why should she talk about father's land and not parents' land? Because also the woman, the wife, can also have property. So this judge was biased. He was, I think it's out of, I don't know, because you cannot mention father instead of mentioning parents' land, parents' property.
I think it's because of the facts of the issues. It was the father who was dead, and one of the mothers was the one who actually applied for grants. So the mother is not dead.
But now you are trying to say that now married women can inherit father's land.
I'm not trying
These
to say...
fathers are not married.
I'm not trying
Why
to say...
can't we talk about, if it's about genuineness, why can't we talk about parents' property? They can inherit parents' property, but not father's property.
But that is what is articulated in the Law of Succession Act. So the Law of Succession Act is the principal act that governs issues inheritance.
Okay,
and the
Jessica,
Law of Succession
actually
Act
in this case, it was the second wife who was saying, you know, who unfairly failed to include the names of the first wife, right? Of the children of the first wife, right? Okay, we have to move on. We have a message here from a woman who says that she's a widow. The in-laws kicked her and her kids out of the husband's land, and they're actually currently constructing on the said land, and they have already demolished the house where they used to live. So she currently resides with her parents, and the case has been in court for 3 years now. What do you make of this? If perhaps this lady inherited something from the parents' land or something, could she be in this situation?
This lady is widowed. That is one point. This lady was married. So it means then the law should help her. First of all, share the land or share property of the husband. So I don't know why then that is not being mentioned. Of course, it's unfortunate that we have such cases where ladies come back and even the brothers snatch everything from them. That is wrong, and we are not supporting that. But there are regulations which are supposed to be followed for this lady to get her right.
So I think just to respond to that, individually as Kellen, we work with women, as I said earlier, in Kisumu and Homa Bay counties. And between 2017 and 2018, we have 500 cases of women who had been disinherited. And these are women who are widows, meaning they had gotten married and their husband has died. And you'll be surprised to find out that the basis for their disinheritance is because of culture. People are saying that, for example, among the Luo community, they say culturally they want to inherit the woman, so they want to remarry the woman. And you know, the communities have come to such a way that the culture has become so dynamic that they have decided to sexualize the aspect of inheritance. So originally what that culture of inheritance was aimed to do was to be able to protect the woman as the men being the head of the family and aspects like that. So the women who refuse to go through this customary aspect as disinherited, chased away from their homes, their land is taken away, they live in the market centers, and now they have their cases that have to be resolved. That is what I'm saying. In 2017, 2018, 500 cases in Kisumu and Homa Bay counties only of widows, not unmarried women, not of daughters, not anything else, but widows who had gone through a marriage. So at the end of the day, I don't think that we can say that marriage is a security. Therefore, if you get married, then at the end of the day, then you leave this right away. And I think even when your dowry is being paid, it does not mean that you're giving away every right that you have as an individual. It is you getting into a contract. Contracts sometimes come to an end. Contracts sometimes have a duration, and at the end of the day, I think it should be very clear what happens before and after. You're not giving away your rights, you are not disowning your family, you're simply getting into a union with this person. So if it was that all the property that you have are being disowned, then I think during the dowry ceremony, they will say from this day, don't come back home and claim anything from this family. Because I think that is, and at the end of the day, I don't think that you can have a right that is outlined in 6 laws, let's say, and then you come back and say, let's forget the laws. They only apply to people who want to, that law to apply to them. But us, as people from this community, we are going to use culture. And when we have the statistics of 500 women who are widows, it's supposed to be worrying because you are not safe if you're married.
Njoka, your daughter or your daughters.
Yes. Daughters.
They won't inherit your land?
Of course, if they get married, they cannot inherit my land.
Your own daughters?
Personally, I follow customs and traditions, and no one can change me from that. 2, I must preserve and reserve somewhere whereby if there's a problem, they can still come back home and stay safe. And that is all about our customs. There is somewhere reserved for them, but not to come and stay. You know, we are not encouraging separation so that they can come and get land. And let me tell you something. Are you saying that now you're saying that now this law can apply henceforth?
Not henceforth. It has been existing since 2010, the Constitution 2012, 2014. This is just an application of the law. It's not applying henceforth. It is being implemented.
May I tell you something?
Yeah.
We have a very high number of separations. I mean, single parents. Single parenting is a crisis by now. And it is because of such rulings. What we are going to have is more women separating and divorcing because of such rulings which are dividing the family. Not bringing together the family, but dividing the family. Let me take this opportunity to advise daughters out there that they need to listen to their fathers and to their elders so that they may not fall into curses. Forget about the ruling. Listen to your elders advice, listen to your father's advice, and you live a comfortable and peaceful life. Forget about what is going on in the courts.
I hear you, and you've mentioned curses twice, and I would like to take note that you see at the end of the day when people are saying, especially the women that we're working with, they go back to the community and say, but I have a right to this property. What the elders and the people at the community tell them, that if you come back to this home without being inherited, then a curse is going to befall upon you. That is a fear that is infringed on them without them. Like it's somebody taking away your right, but also threatening you at the same time and telling you that a curse is going to befall you. But that being said, I would also like to, unfortunately, break the bad news to you that if you decide to leave your land, let's say your daughters are married, you don't leave property for them, and you decide to leave for your son, and the Succession Act is still the law that is going to apply in cases of inheritance, your will is your wish, as it's something that you wish how your property should be divided. But if you do not adhere to the laws that we have, that will be done away with, and we'll make sure that at the end of the day, if they go to do succession, which has to be done in court, because nobody can be able to take away anyone's property without going to court. It is called intermeddling. So if you decide to divide your property only among the sons, when they go to court, the property will not be divided as you wished, because at the end of the day, it is a sort of discrimination against you.
But that is where there is a dispute of division. Where there is a dispute of division, those are the cases that go to court. But thousands and millions of cases don't end up to court.
But if they don't end up in
court, by elders,
if they don't end up in court, then the property is insecure, because at the end of the day, it will still be in the late grandfather's name. And that is the problem, because in Kenya, we have so much land that is still in the name of the deceased. And that's where we're having fraud, people selling property.
Just hold it there. Yeah. I'm made to understand we have another caller online, Mr. William, who is actually a commissioner of human rights. Good morning, William. What do you have for us this morning?
Yeah, I'm very fine. I'm waiting to give my view. Hello?
Carry on, William.
Yeah, I am William. I'm one of the human rights commissioners with the International Commission for Human Rights and Democracy.
Yes.
In fact, the judgment attested in its own, according to the matter presented before that court, which I said it was good. But according to national law and international law, which in fact hide and enforce different laws, not only in Africa, but also outside. In Kenya, we have a problem on land. And I am speaking on behalf of rights of all people. All those who are participating, in fact, what they are saying is true. And even if we give them 1 year to hunt you, it will never solve the problem. The problem here before us is that we need an urgent bill or a law to be enacted to control the situation of land problems in Kenya. Because there are some areas whereby you don't get a law to guide a judge or a magistrate when the matter is presented before them. So here is a case whereby, according to the views of that specific judge or magistrate, if a bill is passed to enact, to correct the mess, because so many people, as they have said, widows, even those who have been left by their parents, they are being denied their right to own property. So, on a specific case like this one, we cannot adopt it in full, but in a case whereby somebody had been neglected by the family where he was married and got back, that law can be applied and will correct the situation, but cannot be applied all in the entire country, because other rights were not represented in that matter. But as we are talking, those who are failing us are those who are appointed as ministers for land or cabinet secretaries. In fact, according to the statistics, there are so many people who have suffered. They have totally suffered, their land grabbed away, and they have done nothing. It is now for us Kenyans, and through such assistance, which you have provided a platform, we have a conference, and we can provide funding for that. That we may talk what can protect the rights to own land. If you are married, Lily, and you want to go and claim back the land from your fathers, to cause great chaos in the country. Because many people do not respect the rights even of the young brothers who he or she left there. So there will be chaos if we adopt the right ruling. But if it can be considered as per specific case which will apply when the same matter is presented before court, then it will guide us. But as for now, we should not wait to adopt.
Okay, thank you so much for that, William. Thank you, William, a commissioner of human rights there. And I also understand we have one Henry from Eldoret. Good morning, Henry. What do you have for us?
Okay. Hello?
Henry, good morning. Carry on.
Okay, I would like to share something with you on the battle.
Yes.
I'm Henry.
Yes.
An IT expert.
Mm-hmm.
Talking on behalf of young men of Kenya. Hello?
Continue.
I'm not married.
Yes, Henry, carry on.
But I totally disagree with the sharing of land to my sisters. This is because...
Yes.
It can never happen in a place whereby a lady was married.
Yes.
Then he goes to his husband, to her husband.
Uh-huh.
Then after some time...
Yes.
They divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that people come to ask for land and there is law whereby somebody can go and file a case against the divorce, then he gets from the husband? Alternatively, it is very wrong for us to go against our taboos and traditions and customs. For example, in Nandi, it is impossible for a lady to come to his home back and ask for a land, yet dowry was paid. It is so, it can also be said that if at all we can share land with my sister,
yes,
it is also very possible that he can come with her spouse and get married or settle in the land my dad has given her.
Yes.
In the same family, which is very wrong. This one is contrary to what Nandi should do. You cannot sell land to an outsider. That family land cannot be sold to any outsider.
Okay, Henry, I have to cut you short, but thank you so much for your feedback. Of course, him there talking about his custom, or rather where he comes from in Nandi. What do you have to say about that?
I think at the end of the day, if he's talking about Nandi, is where the Rono versus Rono case came from. So I'm just, let me just say I'm just in awe. But at the end of the day, I understand that people hold their culture very dear, and I do respect that too, and the Constitution respects that. But I still feel that there is no need for us to be able to still be discriminating against a certain group of people because of the cultures that we have. Because I believe there is no culture that specifically states that women cannot be able to own land. Okay. And if it is, the same is not written. So at the end of the day, if we have international legal instruments, as one of the callers said, if we have international legal instruments that we're supposed to be governed by, and these legal instruments, even the national ones that we have, recognize that women have a right to land, I don't think it was informed in a vacuum. I think there is a reason for that. So I think that is what people should be able to focus on.
Jessica and Njoka, I'm about to get your closing remarks, but let me start with you then. Yeah. With you. Oh, okay. No. I'm starting with Jessica. Give us your closing remarks and also answer the question of what happens to children born out of wedlock. I think that's also an issue that has come up.
Yeah. So I think, as I said earlier, the fact that the Succession Act is the one that governs matters inheritance and succession, it does not discriminate against children. So even children that you are taking care of before death can still be able to get access to the property. So at the end of the day, children are not discriminated against, and the fact that they have not attained the age of 18 years, the property can still be held in trust by a guardian. So their rights are protected, whether they are male or female again. That aspect comes very clear that children shall be divided, the property shall be divided equally, irrespective of their gender.
Okay, Jessica, I have to cut a short. Njoka, yes. 30 seconds.
We don't need to make this debate, we don't need to go that long. I think that case, that ruling was for the person who had taken the case to court. My advice to women and men, continue with your life. Don't be disrupted by such rulings. Don't go away from your customs, and God will bless you. Period.
That's it.
If it is about ladies who have problems, then those problems or disputes can be solved. There are instruments, there are even institutions, even in our customs, that deal with disputes, such disputes whereby windows have come back or maybe a lady has not been married. All those are cared for by our customs.
Okay, Njoka, I have to end this up.
Yes.
I have to end this up. Thank you. We will actually continue with the conversation afterwards.